iPhone 14 Pro Max versus Samsung S22. Which is the best? Want the world's largest and most powerful smartphone? The Apple iPhone 14 Pro Max and the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra will be at the top of your wish list. Both seem ideal candidates. They are sizable, have large batteries, and have good cameras. But what sets them apart? The iPhone 14 Pro Max comes with a new and faster A16 processor, excellent battery life, and a plethora of new features such as dynamic island screen cutout that has never been seen before, as well as a few potentially life-saving functions such as SOS via satellite and crash detection. In addition to the new always-on screen, improved cameras, and the most outstanding portrait mode video, Apple now provides extensive software support. In contrast, the Galaxy S22 Ultra comes with a dedicated S Pen that's perfectly for artists, a camera with an unprecedented 10x zoom, and all the might of Android, including split-screen multitasking and other handy tools. There's only one way to find out who is better in a head-to-head matchup. So let's do it. iPhone 14 versus Samsung Galaxy S22. Price and availability. On September 20, 2022, an Apple iPhone 14 Pro Max cost $529,999 PKR in Pakistan, including PTA tax. This Apple iPhone 14 Pro Max phone is slim, stylish, and light. It will be sold by many online and offline stores in various colors and storage sizes. Price OI, Daraz Mall, and OLX are where you can get the best deal on the Apple iPhone 14 Pro Max phone when it comes out. If you want to import the newest iPhone from another country, you must first pay the PTA tax. The value and type of the device are used to figure out the tax. The Samsung Galaxy S22, on the other hand, cost $299,999 PKR there. The dealer or warranty provider determines the selling price of a Samsung phone with an official warranty. iPhone 14 Pro Max versus Galaxy S22 Ultra. Design. Dynamic Island is the only difference between the iPhone 14 Pro Max and its predecessor. This replacement for the notch moves with alerts, notifications, and live activities, and it's a brilliant idea. For example, on the left side of the screen, you could see a small music player at the top and a countdown timer on the right. As more developers use dynamic display, you'll be able to see sports scores, the status of your Lyft ride, and more. Even though the back of the iPhone 14 Pro Max is made up of matte glass and the sides are made of stainless steel, it's heavier and thicker than the iPhone 13 Pro Max and the Galaxy S22 Ultra, which is a shame. This is because the iPhone 14 Pro Max cameras are even more significant. The iPhone 14 Pro Max is 6.33 inches tall, 3.05 inches wide, and 0.31 inches thick, and it weighs 8.47 ounces. The Galaxy S22 Ultra is 6.43 inches tall, 3.07 inches wide, and 0.35 inches thick, but it only weighs 8 ounces. We also like how well the cameras are built into the back of the Galaxy S22 Ultra. There isn't a big bump in the camera. Both phones are waterproof to an IP68 level. iPhone 14 Pro Max versus Samsung Galaxy S22 display. The screens on both the iPhone 14 and the Galaxy S22 are 6.1 inches. But the iPhone 14 screen has a slightly higher resolution than the A22's, 23,401,170 versus 23,401,080. In reality, the Galaxy S22 screen is better than the iPhone 14's. The Galaxy S22's brightness point is 1300 nits, while the iPhone 14's most optimistic point is 1200 nits, which is still pretty bright. The colors looked brighter when we put the Galaxy S22 screen into vivid mode. The Galaxy S22 had a Delta E core of 0.22 while the iPhone 14 scored 0.25. The iPhone 14 also had more accurate colors. iPhone 14 Pro Max versus Galaxy S22 Ultra. Cameras. Apple put a lot of work into the new iPhone 14 camera, which is why you can take great photos even when there isn't much light. The primary camera on the iPhone 14 has a 12MP sensor, but the iPhone 14 Pro has a 48MP camera. Also, the sensor in the iPhone 14 Pro models are physically even more significant, with pixels that are 1.9 micrometers across and a fast f/1.7 aperture. With the iPhone 14, you can take better photos of things happening in low light. With a 12MP ultra-wide camera, we can make sure that it works better in low light, and you can also take more pictures of the scene. But the Galaxy S22 has something that the iPhone doesn't, an expensive Pro version. On the back of the Galaxy S22 are a 50MP primary camera, a 12MP ultra-wide camera, and a 10MP telephoto lens. In the end, the S22 has a 3x optical zoom, while the iPhone 14 only has a 5x digital zoom. When the iPhone 14 takes a picture, it shows the exact colors of the object and a lot more information about what shot was taken. But if we viewed the sky from the S22, it would be a darker blue. If you keep zooming in on the S22's phone lens, you can get even more detail than the iPhone 14. So, the iPhone is better than other phones because Apple changed the hardware of the phone's cameras and added a new photonic engine that lets you see more details as you process an image. Apple made some changes to the iPhone 14 to make it better at taking pictures in the low light, so the iPhone 13 can't take a good shot like the iPhone 14. However, the S22 takes a perfect picture even with shadows. Regarding the video, the new action mode on the iPhone 14 is a great addition, especially when you or your subject is moving. When an iPhone 14 shoots multiple clips at once, it can beat the Samsung Galaxy S22 Super Steady mode because the iPhone 14's video is more colorful and smooth. So the Samsung S22 can't beat Apple in a race. iPhone 14 versus Samsung Galaxy S22. Performance. Even though it used last year's A15 Bionic processor, Apple still has the best raw performance in the mobile industry. Mention that this chip powers all 4 iPhone 13 models. But the A15 Bionic chipset in the iPhone 14 has a 5-core GPU instead of the 4-core GPU in the iPhone 13. In terms of overall performance, the iPhone 4's Signal Core and Multi-Core scores were 1,727 and 4,553 respectively, while the S22 scores were 1,204 and 3,348. The iPhone 14 also does better when it comes to gaming. In the 3D Mark I Live Unlimited test, the iPhone 14 gets 69 frames per second, while the S22 only gets 60 frames per second. Apple made the iPhone 14 because the Galaxy S22 did better in this test than the iPhone 13. iPhone 14 is the clear winner because it got a better score. iPhone 14 versus Samsung Galaxy S22. Battery and charging time. The iPhone 14 was supposed to have a longer battery life than its predecessor, the iPhone 13. But iPhone 14 has failed us. And if you use it to surf the web all day, it will run out of power. The iPhone 14's average battery life is 9 hours and 28 minutes, which is about a half hour less than the average for smartphones. Overall, the iPhone 14 and iPhone 14 Pro Max are great, but we are still not happy with how long their batteries last. If not, the iPhone 14's result is much better than the Galaxy S22's. The Galaxy S22 has a battery life of 7 hours and 51 minutes, almost 2 hours shorter than the average phone. But Samsung's top model beats the iPhone 14 in one way. Its battery charges faster and can be charged with 25W. Even though the Galaxy S22 is not as quick as other S22 models, which can charge at 45W. It's faster than the latest iPhone 14, which can only charge at 20W. iPhone 14 versus Samsung Galaxy S22. Amazing unique features and software. One of the unique things about the iPhone 14 is that it can detect a crash. If you're in a car accident, sensors inside the phone will tell if you have been in an accident and let the police know. Because of this, the iPhone can beat the Samsung Galaxy S22. The iPhone 14 has iOS 16 already installed, which means it has all the best features of that software update, like the ability to change the lock screen and added text messages and the updated apps. Reports say that Samsung is still working on the One UI interface that will go on top of the Android 13. This is why Galaxy S22 owners won't be able to get the latest version of the Android until the end of the year. On the other hand, Samsung gives its customers better help with software. Samsung Galaxy S22 phones should get at least 4 software updates over the next 4 years, starting with Android 13. We expect security updates in the 5th year. Also, iPhones get updates for 5 years, which is why the support gap is getting smaller. So, iPhone 14 is a winner because of the features that will be added in the fall. If you like this video, click the like and the bell buttons. We'll have another video for you soon. Take care until then.